stuff. Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing great. So today I want to finish up a series that I started, which is called Supernatural Signs, and I did part 1. Now I want to do part 2. So the thing is that we live in this what I call supernatural vibratory universe, and a lot of things in our life we don't experience them in truly the way they are because we aren't truly connected. So what I believe is when we're truly connected with the universe and our natural gifts and abilities, then we start to experience extraordinary things, or what we call supernatural things. But to me, it's more natural. And maybe you have been experiencing some of these things. So I'm going to share some more personal accounts of my supernatural experiences that the universe has brought to me and through my higher self. So as you know, I believe that our minds, of course, our minds have 4 planes to the mind, right? Conscious, critical divide, subconscious, and then we move to a higher level, which is higher self, or where the field of everything is kept, is called superconscious mindset. So once we can interlock with these minds or this field, then we can experience what reality truly is, the hidden agenda or the hidden meaning of actual reality. So let's get into our supernatural, or my supernatural experiences, so that you may be able to understand and be able to tune in to say, okay, wow, some of these things are happening to me, or maybe I'm experiencing some of these things. And maybe even you can post your comments of things that you may experience that a lot of us maybe are afraid to talk about, or because they may be so trippy. We may think, oh man, people would think I'm crazy. You're actually not. This is actually the way reality works and the universe works. So that's what we want to get into now, our supernatural abilities and our experiences. Let me just get everything focused here so that we can work it and get going. All right. So the first story that I like to talk to you about happened before I truly got my spiritual awakening, before I truly realized who I am, what I came here to do. So, of course, guys, many of you know that I used to work as an executive sous chef in this hotel on Miami Beach. Really nice hotel. So anyway, so when you work at a hotel, you get a lot of guests, right? So you get a lot of individuals coming. And this hotel was primarily right on the beach. So you can just walk out and the beach is right there. So, it was always a good sign, a good view, work somewhere where you can just pop out, see the beautiful beach and everything. So we usually have what we call VIP customers that come in. And since, the climate is very tropical, we usually get a lot of individuals from, overseas, Canada. We call them VIPs. So in this one particular time, we had this couple. I'm not going to mention their names. I don't want just to, protect their names and things. But we had this couple, and they would visit yearly. And they came from Ireland. So they would come to the hotel, and they would spend about, the summer months, or with winter there, they'll come summer here. And very, very nice couple. The guy, the husband, was a veterinarian, and he retired, and they would come here and spend months. So they would come yearly. And I remember one year where they came a little early, and that was kind of particular because they usually come at a specific time during the year. But anyway, when they came early, the wife, she would always come to me, and she would ask me to make her special, because she loved the way the food would, and she liked how I prepared it. So we always had a connection, and I would always talk to them about maybe spiritual stuff like positive thinking. I didn't get all the information. The information that I know now, I didn't know all of it back then. It was just being channeled to me. So some stuff, basic stuff, positive thinking, mindset, etc., I would relate and talk to her, and they would be very receptive. But this year when they came, that I heard when they came because of a medical procedure. So anyway, to make a long story short, the husband had developed some sort of cancer within his throat area, and he had to have surgery. And the surgery was only here because there was a specialist only here that can perform that type of surgery. They didn't have it in Ireland, so they had to fly over here. And one of the drawbacks, or the weak point, or the effect, or the downside of the surgery, that he would risk never talking again, losing his voice. And so they came here, and I think they spent about a month before the surgery. So we talked and everything, and they were, at that time, the husband wasn't able to speak too much. His voice was kind of just, or the wife would just translate and say, okay, he wants this, he wants that. And we'd always talk. And so I remember about 3 days before the surgery, so she would come up to me and she'd say, Mark, such and such, I'll just give you just a name, just say Phil. So Phil and I are gonna go, he wants to get to surgery. Can you pray for us? Can you help us? Can you send some positive energy? Because I know you're always positive. You always talk about these positive things. I said, yeah, sure. I said, I sent some positive energy. And anyway, so they went and had the surgery. And then when he came back, the worst happened. The doctor said they couldn't save his vocal cords, so he'll never be able to speak again. He would have to wear some kind of machine you put here, and it would speak sort of like robotic. And that was very distraught to her. So she was just very sad. And so I felt bad. I said, wow, she had to keep a positive mindset, etc. So they got it, and so the doctor said, okay, you have to come back in about a week for them to just test and see just to see, a recovery status. So after that, when they came, I seen her and she was crying, and she told me the news, and he was there as well, and he took it pretty good. He was strong, and she said, he'll never be able to talk again, and da da da. And then all of a sudden, something said, here's this voice again. I call it this higher self, or the supernatural, super conscious, my higher self voice said to me. He said, Mark, you can help these people. It says you can actually restore and help let's say Phil, to get his voice back. I said, what? I was trying to ignore the voice while I was talking to her, because I was like, what is this? How am I going to do this? Anyway, so again, before, they went to their trip to do a checkup on the doctor thing, she asked me again, Mark, can you just help meditate? Okay, and pray. So I would just give positive energy. Then all of a sudden, something took over. I don't know what it was, but when I put something said, just put your hands right here. And I just said, hey, just say, Phil, come here. Put my hands, and then I totally forgot what I said. I don't even know what I said then. I'm still trying to figure it out. So let me show you what happens. Anyway, I put it there, and I guess I did some just positive energy, and they went. So, working there, we have days off. So I have 2 days off, and so anyway, I got a call on my day off. I think this was 2 days after they came back. They checked up with the doctor, the specialist, and then they came home. And then within, I think, a day after their initial visit, got a call, and it was the head chef there that was taking my day off, and he was like, "Hey, Mark," he's like, there's this lady here. He knows her. He says, "Look, she's going fanatic, man." He's like, I said, "What happened? What's up?" He says, I don't usually call you on your day off, but she insists to talk to you." I said, what was it? The menu or something? He says, "No, it's not the food. The food is good. It was something else." I was like, oh, okay, cool. So anyway, she comes on the phone, and she says, "Oh, Mark, something is happening." I said, "What's happening?" She says, "Phil, he's actually starting to speak, and the doctor said he would never speak." And I said, "Yes, okay, that's good." And then I was baffled. I was in a state of disbelief. I didn't know what to believe. I was like, whoa, is this really true? Did something happen here? So anyway, the next day I came to work, and we met up, and I talked, and Phil was there, and lo and behold, he started to actually vocal cords speak. The words now started to make vocabulary sense. They were starting to speak up. It was you could tell the difference. Versus he couldn't, but now he's looked like he's starting to speak. So what is that, right? And I said, that's the universe. That's how it works. Our cells can heal, etc. And it was very good. She was crying, joy. It was a very, very touching thing. But the bigger point is, it shows you that the power we have when we can connect with that source. And I didn't know what I said, but I got a clue when I spoke to her that day when we sat there. I said, did you tell me what I said? Because I blanked out. What I realized was I went into a trance. He said I was chanting some sort of sentence. So it was a chant. I don't know what it was. And she said she couldn't remember or couldn't detail what it was because she was just more focused on thinking or something. But that was a chant. So anyways, so they went home, and I think 2-3 months passed, and they emailed me, and they said, Mark, thank you so much. I say, Phil, he's totally regained his voice. He's talking to us. Says the doctors here are baffled. They don't know what happened. They just basically said that, the way the procedure worked, it repaired itself, something along with the vocal cords, the cell regenerated, and they've never seen that before. It's extremely rare, they said. They've probably seen it once or twice, but it can happen, but it's very rare. But especially after a procedure like this, where it's actually severed, it's unnatural for it to, whatever. But the point is, yeah, he got his voice back. So there you go, right? That's to show how powerful we are, that we can affect our own bodies molecular, or you can even send energy to help heal other people. So that's a supernatural, I think, that started to put me more towards a path and see, whoa, okay, I have this unique gift and ability. I need to use it to help more individuals, or just help people in general to see the potential they truly have. So that's one. So the next supernatural story happened now at a few years before I got into chef. This was when I was in my high school, and I was my first job. But I say my first job was working at this pizza place called Little Caesars. But then I got another job, it was a little bigger, and I would have to travel, about 15-20 minutes from my home to go there. And I remember I bought this car. My friend was selling this car, and it was a nice car. It had like performance, everything. And I was loving with the car. But at that thing, I didn't know anything about cars. I was just getting into it. Anyway, the tires on the car were pretty much bald. I didn't know it. It was just smooth. I just thought the tires were smooth. I didn't know that the tires were bald. So I was driving on a bald tire for about 2 weeks. Anyway, it caught up with me, and I got a flat in the highway coming home. And here I am, like on this highway here. It's called a 595. And I have no idea how to change a tire, what happened. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, what's going on? I don't even know what to do now. And I'm looking down, and as I look up behind me now, this car pulls up. It's like it came out of nowhere. This guy comes out of the car, very tall, fair-skinned guy came over to me. He says, hey man, you okay? I says, I don't know what happened. And he said, oh, you have a flat. He says, I'll help you. I says, okay. So he went into the back, got my spare, he put the flats on, and put the new tire and everything on. And I said, man, how can I thank you? I said, do you want can I give you some money to help me? And he always says, the words he said to me always resonate with me right now. He says, no, you don't have to help me. Just pass it on. Just do this for somebody else. Anytime you see somebody else that need help, just help them. And those words stick with me because I've been doing it ever since. Anytime I see anybody in the highway and they stop, I always pull over, or they got to help, always do it. Now, this is very powerful because now, as soon as he put the tire on, right, and he walked to his car, so I started to just get my stuff going. Within 2 minutes, he disappeared. I didn't see him drive past me, anything. And to make this even more trippy, highway patrol pulled up because they always monitor the highway, and they see me on there with my blinkers. Thought I was distressed, and he comes over, he says, hey man, you okay? I says, yeah. I said, did you see the guy that just helped me change my tires? He says, no man. He says, there's nobody here. He says, I didn't see anybody pull up for whatever. And I said, huh? And I said, oh, okay. He says, but you good? And I said, yeah. And he drove off. What is that, right? What could that be? Could it have been an angel? Could it be something, a being? What is it, right? So these things have you kind of seeing reality in a whole different perspective. So that's a powerful supernatural story there. So I'll share one more with you. Now, so this is pretty recent. It's about 4 months ago. So with my other car, right? So I always take that car to the track. So I like to track it and just drive around the track. So I have this mechanic in this shop that only deals with those my type of cars, M3, BMW M3. So I always take it there. You always do performance tests. We do the dynos and everything. So it's a lot, individuals have the same type of cars. They always come there. We always, talk, just look at each other's cars and just do comparison and anything. So anyway, he calls me and says, hey man, we're gonna have a meet and we want to know if you want to come. A bunch of us is going to it's the Hard Rock. Here it's called a Hard Rock Casino. Nice restaurant. I said, why don't you stop by? It's gonna be about 60 of us. And we're gonna have this big thing. We're gonna just. I said, okay, sure, I can do that. I think I stopped by for an hour. So it was an evening. So anyway, I went there, and I arrived about 45 minutes earlier before everyone got there. Cause I just wanted to walk around and in the casino. Now, I don't usually play casinos, so if you know me, it's more like the lottery. So I never do casinos. So I'm in there, I'm walking around, and I just said, you know what? Let me just have fun and play. So I started to use the technique I used to like feel the machines and to see what comes and any of that. So I'm doing that. So I think I got like $50 from the ATM. So it was about 10 minutes before everybody got there. So I'm walking, and as I'm walking, I heard this lady. She just banging the machine, and she's like, "Damn it," something like that. And I looked over, and the voice just said, "You need to go play that machine next to the lady." And I was like, I'm not gonna play this. She's mad. She lost a lot of money. That's what my ego was telling me. But the voice just says go. So I went over there and I sat right next to her, and she says, well, hopefully you have better luck than I have because I just lost a da 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 da. And I was like, okay. So I sat there. I was like, you sure this is what you want me to do? The voice was like, play. So I put $20 in. So she got up. I guess she's angry. She left. So it was just me there. So I put $20 in. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just pressing the button because I was getting ready to walk over, to the dinner. And I think when he got down to $17, the whole machine started lighting up. And just make a long story short, it was almost about $8,000 that I won there. So look, so these are just glimpses of the potential we have when we can tap in. When you can connect, then you can what I call bend reality. Then you can see there's other influences, other things around us that are creating our world by design. You're not by default. So I'm sure you guys have plenty of experiences like this. But this is just a tip of the iceberg to show you the capabilities that we have that we don't put out in the mainstream. This is not shown in mainstream world. This is something that we kind of keep down because it is so unbelievable to so many individuals. But it's a fact. You see it in my experience, and I'm sure you'll see it in yours. So how do you achieve these things? Well, I believe you get to this level once you start to become awakened, or ascension, when you start to know how to master and manipulate your mind, the field. So once you understand the concept of all your mind, the conscious, the subconscious, then you tune into your higher self, then you have the awareness, then you know how the universe works with a little bit of science and physics, then everything manipulates, and you become entangled with this guidance or this field of energy and beings. So there you have it. So there's some interesting. I have more, so maybe I'll do another one somewhere down the line. But here you go. Supernatural events or supernatural signs that you can use to motivate, and you can see that the whole different perspective. If you have some stories, share them in the comments. I'd love to hear them because I'm sure we all experience these things. All right, guys. Thanks.